Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host Terry, and today talking about our Week 11 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. So I got some players to add to my keeper list. Andy Dalton. I'm just kidding. Andy Dalton did well, but for those who have listened to me, you know that I've said before that this season is kind of mute to me. It's kind of whatever because it's not just because of the injuries this week. I know there's some fans, we had these people out. That stuff don't matter. At the end of this year, unless there's some crazy circumstance, I expect Nagy and Ryan Pace to be gone and for us to go into a new chapter. Now, if you've been paying attention to me, I know it's a cool thing to say fire Nagy now, but I said that before the season. I said that after last season. And I don't necessarily want to fire Ryan Pace, but the way the league goes with owners, they're not that much better than fans. They don't know too much. And so they'll probably get rid of both of them. And we'll be going into a new era. And so it might not be cool to say, but throw it out the window and think of Madden. If you play Madden, you're doing a franchise, you got a bad team, you want to look at which players can I develop, which players do I want to focus on, and all that good stuff. And so for me, I think you have to have a keeper list, and I've had that keeper list most of the time. Number one, Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields is not about draft status and being a first-round pick and all that. For me, it's about what he's shown. And so last week, for whatever reason, I got backlash because I wasn't on the hype train with Justin Fields. And it was me simply saying I didn't see what this progress and all that everybody was talking about. For me, it's not really a commentary on his skill. It's more of my expectations. I know what he can do and what I expect. So I didn't see anything new last week. And so a lot of people gave me backlash for that. But overall, my point is Justin Fields is the type of guy that we've seen with the right situation can be something special. And I don't think this is the situation. I do think the situation is only going to continue to make him develop bad habits. But going forward, not because he's a first-round pick, but because he's a good player, I would focus on Justin Fields. Also on that list, I have David Montgomery. David Montgomery is a guy that has shown a lot, even though the running back position is devalued in the sense that it's not really rare to find a good running back or a productive running back. But he's shown that he's a gamer. I like that attitude, and I like his skill set. Honestly, watching him, his contact balance is really up there with Kareem Hunt as one of the best. And then also I would say Khalil Herbert, just what he's been able to do as a rookie. Even though our O-line, again, is much stronger in the run game, it still takes, I think, some talent to do what he's been able to do. And so having a two-headed monster is not a bad thing. And then Roquan Smith, you got the guy that's a winner. I mean, you see it today. He's sick of this. Like, it sucks. He wants to win. And then added today, your boy Darnell Mooney, which I didn't mention before, but I should have probably. Mooney is added to my list. This dude, I think he's a gamer. He might not be boisterous and all that, but he's definitely somebody that wants to go out there and ball and just really win his matchup and can add something to the team. I don't know if he's a number one, but that's somebody you probably want on your team going forward. So as far as my keeper list, you got those guys, and then I would say Bourne as well. Not that he's amazing at right tackle, but I think he fits as a guard. And as a rookie with that deal, I think you can't really pass that up. So, yeah, that's kind of my keeper list. And Robert Quinn. Let me say shout out to Robert Quinn. I said early on, he's definitely playing a different level than he was last year. And I don't think he's a game record and all that. And I still don't know about the contract. But what I will say is that obviously he's older. But I've said many times before, even when we signed him, the best lean ability in the NFL that I've ever seen. And he continues to use that in his hustle to make plays. And going forward, you don't want a bunch of rookie and under, 25-year-olds. Obviously, you want some veterans and all that. And I think Robert Quinn would be one of those guys that would be important to have on the team. So there's that. About the game, I mean, it's the typical things. And again, I know some people probably like, oh, this is annoying and keep saying the same stuff. But it's true. I mean, especially without Khalil Mack, even though I'm not super fond of him. Our pass rush, it was lacking. And all you'll say, okay, we got these sacks. Those are coverage sacks. Obviously, even with those sack numbers for a backup quarterback of Huntley's caliber, I mean, that's a 10th, 11th tier backup. I'm talking about a guy that was backing up in college. And so you're talking about a guy that really does not have that much experience. For him to be able to do what he did, even despite the sack numbers, that shows you there was not a lot of pass rush. There was not a lot of discomfort for him in that pocket, and he was able to make plays. So, yes, we hit him. Yes, we pressured him. A lot of that is coverage, which is, kudos to the coverage, but I keep saying it. And some people don't agree, and that's fine. But if you don't have a team that can get pressure with the front, then it's going to be hard because it's very similar to an offensive lineman. Most people don't watch offensive linemen. And so if you get beat for 4 sacks, you're like, whoa, that offensive line was terrible. That tackle or whoever was terrible. But you got to realize the offensive lineman is playing 75 to 100 snaps a game. So what small percentage of error do you have? Same thing kind of goes with secondary and coverage. I wouldn't say that bad. You could get toasted for a higher percentage, but for the most part, a secondary, you have to be 50 to 60%. You have to be good for 50 or 60% of the plays. Because if you give up, let's say, 4 miscommunications, bomb touchdowns, again, out of 75 to 100 plays, even if you want to go halfsies and say half were pass plays, so out of 50 plays, you gave up 4 bomb touchdowns. That's a horrible game. But, again, that's 4 plays out of 50. And so, for me, I feel like with secondary, again, you have to be great the vast majority. Not great, but you have to be good the vast majority of the time. So our coverage holds up pretty well. It usually does. And so you can cause coverage sacks. You don't get the credit for it, but you cause coverage sacks. But it only shows up in people's minds once the secondary is really bad. And so it's not a commentary on our secondary. It's a commentary on our pass rush, which I've been saying for the last 3 years. It's lacking. And to be honest with you, even if Khalil Mack was playing to his potential, yeah, we'd be wrecking stuff. But even teams with great edge rushers, if you don't have a good interior rusher, which is why the Rams were so different, it is really hard to defend against some of these better teams. Now, again, you're talking about a quarterback in a passing game overall that is not prolific. And so what will we do against Aaron Rodgers or whatever? We've seen that before, that if we aren't able to generate that pressure, it's tough. Now, the other part of it is we didn't really game plan that well because you look at not even a rookie quarterback, but a young quarterback with not much experience, you blitz them. And we did a little bit early, and we kind of got away from it. You got to blitz them more and constantly until he shows he can beat it. And I just think we went a little too vanilla too much, even including the last drive. Obviously, there's a penalty involved, which, I hate those, and automatic first downs. But still, there was ability to drive down the field because you're trying to play max coverage, and we're just not able to communicate and execute it correctly. And so I'd rather have blitzed in that situation. That's just me. So offensively, I like to open the drive a lot. And that really concerns me for the coaching staff, not just Nagy, but everybody, because we've seen, or at least for me, I've seen the best of the offensive creativity with the opening drive after a bye week. So that tells me that it took that long because Justin Fields was drafted in the offseason. You knew you had him. But it took that long for us to finally see some real good usage of everybody's talent. Only after a bye week and only for the opening drive. After that, it kind of fell back into the vanilla stuff. Part of that is Fields and, not being able to be decisive and read stuff like Andy did. But still, the opening drive, just the use of formation, because, again, we get into play calling. We talk about run, pass, deep shot, short shot, screen, all that stuff. But it's more than that. You got the formation. You got the motion. You got all these different things. And so, to me, I look at the first drive, and I'm like, that's so creative. Not only to bring Khalil Herbert and Dave Montgomery out, but how you did it. Not only to motion out of this or to come out in this and go to empty. Like, it's a lot of good ways they did it. The first play was a wide quarterback lead, and it didn't look like Justin really read it or anything, but still, that's a good play. And I said that before. Why don't we have that play? Like, we already run split zone. Just run zone, split zone, and instead of blocking the edge, the tight end or the H-back comes across and leads for the quarterback. And so I liked all the stuff I saw in that first drive, but then it kind of went away. So that concerns me because I feel like with most really good offenses, or at least the creative ones, you're able to sustain that level of creativity throughout the game. And I just didn't see we were able to do that. But it does let me know, which I already knew, that it's possible. You got, again, like I said, some of these keepers. You got Fields, you got Herbert, you got Montgomery, you got what they're able to do. You got Mooney, Komet, whatever. You got a lot of ways to utilize these people and to really get teams offset, and we just got to do a better job at coaching. But again, I'm looking forward to the next season and seeing who we bring in to do that. So anyway, that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know what you think about your keepers. Who would be your keepers going forward? All that. Comment, share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.